What are your thoughts on wrestlers debuting via being pulled in from the audience? John Tenta debuted this way on WWF, and even as a child, it seemed to diminish the skill needed to wrestle, as seemingly anybody could do it. So, Jim, what are your thoughts on when they would do something where a guy would come out of the crowd and become a wrestler?
Well, it's like anything else in the wrestling business. It worked until it didn't. And the first few times it was done, or first time in any particular area that it was done, they did that with Hillbilly Jim. He was a fan out of the crowd, right? It was a Hulk Hogan fan. But look at Jim. He's 6'6" or whatever he is, and he's 280 pounds.
Ox Baker in Kansas City.
I was about to say, Ox Baker in Kansas City was Doug the Ox, because he was a nerd. He had these big frame glasses on and like a pocket protector, but he was 6'6" and 300 and something pounds. And just the whole idea was when a guy would come out of the crowd, it was usually a guy of unnatural large size that instantly you would, holy shit, it wouldn't be like Bruce Lee came in and started doing the kung fu shit. It was some big giant. And
not Nicholas.
Yeah, exactly. And while that worked in a couple of cases, because they were generally coming in to help the local baby face or whatever, and then they'd be pulled into the goddamn thing and they'd be, put in the match, and that's the way they'd get started. And then, slowly they'd morph as a wrestler from there, leave the territory and go do something else, whatever. But then actually where they did it a couple of places, they ended up being sorry and vowed never to do it again, because then they had an increase in people jumping in the fucking ring from the crowd, because they're like, well, fuck it. They bought the angle that they were supposed to buy, and then say, okay, if I do it and I kick that fucking heel's ass, they'll give me a wrestling contract. And it cost them more in the long run in security and problems and fucking a potential lawsuit and whatever the fuck. So a lot of places, I remember hearing when I first got into business, had I think it may have been around the Tenta time that I heard, or maybe the Hillbilly Jim time, that I heard stories like this. And a lot of places had vowed never to do that again, because they ended up with a bunch of people hitting the ring for fucking weeks afterwards, which makes sense.
Yeah, and the Tenta thing, by the way, it was a setup. In kayfabe, it was a setup. Dino Bravo and Jimmy Hart had Tenta set up to hurt the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, no, I'm talking about it. They would debut wrestlers in some cases like that out of because it's an offshoot of the old Carnival challengers, right?
Not exactly the same thing, but I always loved the story of Rochester Roadblock. This big guy, whatever he is, 6'8", big fat guy. I hate to say it like that, but big guy.
Yeah.
And he tries to meet Hulk Hogan at the gym, and Hulk Hogan blows him off. And then he decides he hits the ring before Hogan's match. Shut up, Swami. He hits the ring before Hogan's match and takes down the one-man gang.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. And of course, the WWF didn't use him, but he got in the independents off of that, right?
Yeah, and eventually he got into WCW as Roadblock. So, he actually ended up having a career